In this video, we'll take a look at how to exclude hosts from Autoscale in case you are doing some manual maintenance on those hosts, or you are, basically don't want Autoscale to apply to specific VMs. So let's go ahead and open up our workspace and open up a host pool. So let's go with, let's say, this particular host pool right here. And you can see we have 3 hosts. They're currently all turned off. And what you'll notice is we have a new option from the drop-down menu called Exclude from Autoscale. When you select Exclude from Autoscale, you have a drop-down with 3 options. You can either not exclude from Autoscale, which means Autoscale will take effect and will turn this host on and off as needed based on the conditions you specify. You can say exclude this host from scale-in operations. Excluding from scale-in means that the VM will never be turned off during this time. And the reason this is useful is because if you have a long running task that you want to run overnight and you want to make sure that the VM doesn't get shut down by Autoscale after hours, you will use a option to prevent from scaling in, or you have the option to prevent scaling in and scaling out, meaning if you take a VM and put it in maintenance mode and shut it down, you may not want that VM to be turned back on either, right? So not turn off and not turn on. If you select one of these options, you have the option to exclude the host indefinitely, meaning until you manually come in and change it to here, it will be always excluded, or you can say excluded until a certain time. So for example, if on a Friday afternoon, there's going to be a long running operation on this particular VM and you want it to, not turn off until the following, Monday morning at 8 a.m., you can just specify the date and time, and the system will exclude it from scaling until the specified time. So you can do this on a host by host basis. You can select multiple hosts and exclude the ones you've selected from Autoscale in exactly the same way. And you can actually do this at the host level. You can go to hosts, exclude from Autoscale, and apply all these settings in bulk to all of the hosts in the pool. So this is very convenient for you to control when and if you want your host to be taken offline and managed manually without Autoscale overriding your manual actions. In addition to selecting the exclude from Autoscale option, there's also a way to make sure that the host is excluded from Autoscale when you're either turning it on or turning it off. So let's imagine we're going to be powering on this VM because we want this VM to be patched overnight, or we want to run some sort of maintenance on it. So when you click on power on, you have a new checkbox called restrict scale in for a certain number of hours. You can specify 8 hours, 24 hours, or really any number of hours that you want. And that means that this VM will not be scaled in, will not be turned off for this number of hours after the time you click OK. If you have a VM that's currently running, for example, like the one in this host pool, and you decide to power it off, you can say restrict Autoscale operations, which is both scale in and scale out. So don't turn it off and don't turn it on, also for a certain number of specified hours. And this is super useful if you are turning on your VMs over the weekend to have something like SCCM or Azure Patch Management go in and actually apply all the updates. And you want to make sure that for a certain number of hours, those VMs are uninterrupted and running without Autoscale kicking in. The way you would do that is really simple. You would go to one of your host pools, go to hosts, select power on, set a schedule to do that. Let's say every week on Saturday at 2 a.m. And you're going to say that once those VMs come on, leave them on for at least 12 hours. So scheduling this type of an operation will power on all the VMs in this host pool every Saturday at 2 a.m., keep them on for at least 12 hours, and prevent Autoscale from shutting them down, which will give them enough time to be patched or be maintained in whatever way your system requires. Hope you found this useful, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.